Hey, hey, hey. Ashley Gordon here from manifestwithash.com. What's up, badass manifestors? I am sitting in my office. It is like a snow bomb outside. I don't know if it's raining or snowing or like what the heck's going on, but it's really crazy. And I'm about to teach yoga in half an hour, a little bit more. And I wanted to pop on because something that I've been really working with this week, and something that came up in one of my yoga classes, like my little microphone friend, was all about like how letting go creates space for you to bring in and manifest what you actually want. So it sounds like really cliche, like let go, right? That old adage of letting go, letting it be. Right. And it wouldn't be such an old adage and like, a great mantra for people to say if it wasn't true. It's totally true. But it's really hard sometimes and challenging for people to actually let go of certain things for them to be able to bring in what they want. And there's so many layers of letting go, right? And what I'm noticing is every time I hit a new layer, a new moment in my business and in my life and in my development, I have to let go of something. So every time you elevate yourself and up-level yourself, you have to let go of something. So it's all about creating that space to bring in that momentum from the universe to be in the flow. And it's really amazing. So for me, like I'll share a little bit, it started on my yoga mat. And getting into yoga, like an example could be like when you're in a really challenging pose and there's so much resistance that comes up in my body and in my mind, and like immediately I'm met with my psychology of like, okay, I got to get out of this pose. Like this is really, really challenging. And being confronted with that thought and then being aware enough to notice that thought and then let that thought go and stay, right? And on the other side of that, I had more freedom and the ability to stay because I was able to notice the thought and let it go instead of letting it take me out, right? So that's a form of letting go because there's so many layers to it, right? And then the next layer to it is when you're in Shavasana, which is final resting pose, and being at the end of the practice and going through the whole practice and then and then allowing your whole body to relax, right? Like letting go of all of your muscles so you can be in this like deep rest. And that rest is such a gift after all of that practice, right? But sometimes in Shavasana, we still hold on. Like I would still hold on to my body and not let the support of the earth just let me rest. And so then one day in my practice, I was able to let go of my muscles and be in the experience of deep rest. And that elevated my practice because if I was able, people say, what's the hardest yoga pose? And it's Shavasana, the last pose, because you have to really let go and be with yourself. And then there's other layers of letting go. So taking the practice of yoga off the mat, right, and into my life, like letting go of insecurities, letting go of what other people think. And each like step of that, right, opened up so much. It allowed my manifestations to come in of what I really wanted because I wasn't using that mental space of caring what other people thought or worrying about, what I should be doing as opposed to just stepping into my power and letting go of anything else that wasn't serving my power. So I think back to like my first relationship and, hey, Rach. And I think back to the time when I was like in a really shitty relationship and it was like my first love and it was super intense and it was just like, I thought I was going to marry that person and it was so toxic, right? Like I had to let that relationship go. And if I didn't let it go, then I wouldn't have created the space for me to become who I am today. right? So life kind of forces you out in a way of these situations that you're almost forced to let go of. There's things that we're forced to let go of, and there's things that we actually have to make that conscious choice of like, this is not serving me. I need to let this go right now, right? And usually when that happens, the universe responds and is like, okay, I'm going to bring in exactly what you need now. I'm going to deliver to you what's been in like the waiting room and in vibrational escrow, right? Like it's all around us, everything we want. And when we finally make that decision to let those walls down or let that person go or let that expectation go, we're creating space, right? Like we're sweeping up the old and the universe is delivering you something brand new. And if you guys are like, yes, I feel this, and if you catch the replay, let me know. True that, Rach. Like share a little bit about, you know, what you've let go of and what you've had to be, you know, what you were maybe even forced out of and like forced to let go of, and what was brought in on the other side of it. Usually when we make decisions, like if you make a decision to invest in a coach, or you make a decision to invest in a program, or you make a decision to, vibrational escrow, or you make a decision to, you know, take a vacation and you're nervous about it. And then all of a sudden you make the decision and the universe grants you with that money that you needed, or that person that you needed, or that opportunity that stepped in. And it always works out. If you believe that it does, of course. But of course we believe that, or else you wouldn't be in Manifestation Nation, right? So yeah, and one of the biggest things that I've had to let go of, and I help my clients let go of, is expectations. Expectations of other people. How would your life drastically change? What would open up for you? What's on the other side for you if you were able to let go of expectations? Like really let go of them. What would be there? And when we hold those expectations of others, really for me, like it's like holding on to a coal. Like I'm the one that's getting burned when I'm expecting you to be a certain way, or to do a certain way, or to show up for me in a certain way. It's not worth it. It's like, why do we hold on to these things? And what would be possible if we let go? What would be possible if we let go of these expectations? Keep asking yourself that. Journal it. What would be, that's a tongue twister. What would be possible? And the last thing that I want to talk about, or two things, is letting go of your desires. It sounds so like against manifesting, like letting go of your desires, but that's like such a huge manifestation tool. Is the universe already knows what you want. You've planted the seed, and now you have to let it go so the seed can blossom. Because if you hold on to it too tightly, you create too much resistance around it. And that's with anything. Got to let go of the things that, number one, don't serve us, that number two, don't serve us, the number three, don't serve us, right? And the things that we want to try and control, because that doesn't serve us either. So when you hold on to your desires super tight, you are like, oh my God, I just want this so bad, and I just have to hold on to it. And if I'm not focusing on it enough, then it's not going to happen. But actually, the universe is the universe and is really, really smart and super in tune with what you want, believe it or not. But believe it because it's true. And believe that it has the ability to bring you what you want, even if you only focus on it for 20 seconds, ever, right? Like it will respond. So when we hold on to our desires, we're creating resistance between what we want. So an exercise that I like to do that really helps me, and you could do this with anything. You can do it with expectations, with people, with circumstances, anything, for letting go, is to imagine what you need to let go of, like put it outside of you, and put it in a love bubble. Put it in a big love bubble, and see it in the bubble, and then see the bubble float up into the sky, and watch it just kind of disappear into the clouds, into the sky. And that's your intention of letting it go. That really, really helps with desires and with anything. And letting go is a continual practice. It's a constant practice. And once you commit to, letting go of something, and then it creeps back in, just make your love bubble again and put it in the bubble and watch it float away continuously over and over and over again. That's what I wanted to share today. So if you guys vibe with this information, please let me know. It's important to, I want to put out content that really resonates with you guys, and share from my own experience of, what's been happening for me, like right here in the space. Like, I'm constantly letting go of, putting myself out, like the fear of putting myself out there, and the fear of, that what I have to say isn't what you want to hear, right? Like, that's real. And I'm completely disrupting that every single day, putting that in a bubble, letting it go away, and trusting in myself and in my messages and what I'm told from my intuition and my guidance to share. So that's where I'm at. Comment what you are letting go of and what you want to bring in. Feel free to declare it, because that's really powerful. I'm going to go teach some yoga. I have this microphone. I'll announce it right now. I am creating Badass Manifester podcast. Woo! Yes, Badass Manifester podcast. So I'm going to record all my lives and turn them into podcasts. All right, that's it. Have an awesome day. Love you guys.